Hello and welcome to LGPro's Expert Insights. Today I'm joined by Max Lazenby, the co-founder of the Global Leadership Foundation and one of the presenters in our upcoming webinar on performance coaching. Are you set up for success? Great to have you with us today, Malcolm.
Thank you, Julia. Nice to see you.
And managing the performance of teams certainly poses some particular challenges now more than ever in this environment. So I'm curious to hear from you, what are some of the factors that contribute to the success of these performance management or coaching conversations, Malcolm?
Look, I think it's very important that we get people being clear about expectations, about what they need to be doing to be successful. So, and often we don't sit down and articulate and be clear about what we're looking for. So on one hand, that's a very important part about, outlining expectations of both parties. For me as a leader or manager, what am I expecting, but also what can they expect from me in return? So it's sort of twofold. I think the other part too is actually being able to coach and support people to be all that they can be. And I think that's an important distinction, to be able to say, how do I grow and develop someone? Support them to take up challenges, support them to perform better than they thought they could have in the first place.
It's a great point that you make as well about the role of not only the coach, but the person that you are trying to support in that conversation. I know that that's something that you'll be touching on in our webinar. And you and your co-presenter for this webinar, Gayle Hardie, have been working in this space supporting leaders for over 30 years. I'm wondering, what is a key message that our members can take away to support their own leadership success?
Look, that's a very good question. And so I guess we come from two lots of experiences. One, we were in senior roles within the corporate world, so having to lead teams and individuals and get the best out of them. We've also then been applying a lot of that learning in helping other organisations. However, both Gayle and I have always been very active in our own personal and professional development, in learning more and more about, so how can we improve what we do, and what does that look like in 2020 as opposed to in the year 2000. What shifted in that period. And so I think it's really important that we sort of bring a depth of experience from the corporate world, but also more importantly, in our current roles. So both Gayle and I currently would coach executive managers and CEOs and board chairs across a range of organisations and a range of industries and sectors. So we're sort of still very active in working on this front. So, which I think is probably the most important thing. So we want to give people some practical things that they can do. We want them to be able to come away with some simple techniques that are actually really going to enable them to succeed at performance coaching, which means that they're going to get good outcomes from the person they're trying to develop and coach. So we wanted to keep it at a practical and simple level. And I'm going to say the techniques and things we'll talk about will be applicable to all leaders, not new leaders and experienced ones.
That's absolutely right. And I know that you do on your website also say that you invest in your own continual professional development. So I understand that a little bit of reflection is part of this session. You do talk about some relevant models, but just briefly, because this session is designed not just for new leaders, but also experienced leaders who may be familiar with some of those models. You've also provided some fantastic additional resources for our registrants, which I'm really excited to share with them. Is there anything else you wish to let us know that you have in store for us in this upcoming webinar?
Look, I think our focus is very much on us as the coach in setting us up for success. So there's something about what's the mindset that I come in with, and also being conscious of the mindset of the person who we're coaching. I think it's also understanding a bit more about our impact in the coaching process. And what does it mean for me as their leader, or even if I'm a peer coach, what is my impact, and understanding a bit more about that. And I think probably then more importantly, we have sort of 3 guiding principles that underpin the processes that we go through in enabling us to get the best out of people. So that's sort of the 3 main pieces.
That's right, the mindset, impact, and principles. Some really fantastic content there. And it is the last of our 2020 webinar series. So we're really pleased to be able to offer this session free to all LGPro members. So thank you, Malcolm, for sharing your insights with us today. A very valuable topic indeed. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you at the webinar.
Thank you very much, Giulia.